Turning now to the sexual abuse scandal that has plagued the Boy Scouts of America for years. In 2012, the L.A. Times was first to post a searchable database of 5,000 files and case summaries dubbed the perversion files. Now, new information has come to light, suggesting the number of abused children is much larger than previously thought. L.A. Times investigative reporter Kim Christensen is here with more on the latest troubles for the Boy Scouts. Hi, Kim. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Remind folks about the files that the Times posted in 2012, how you got them and what they revealed.
Well, we got a couple of sets of files that had been used as evidence, introduced as evidence in lawsuits, civil suits, and we had 5,000 files and case summaries, about 2,000 complete files. And we analyzed those, actually went through about 2,000 files looking for patterns and trends of the abuse. And what the files are basically dossiers. It's a blacklist the Scouts use to exclude abusers from the ranks or to kick abusers out if they're caught.
Now, some of these are people who were Scout leaders. Some were just people who applied as Scout leaders, but they kept a record of everything and said, this is the blacklist. You can't hire them. Did it for about a century. But now there are new details. Why? Who looked at the files again, and what did they find?
Well, the Scouts hired a researcher from the University of Virginia to do their own analysis of the files. In this case, the Scouts turned over their entire files to the researcher, who went through them, tallied what she said was the number of abusers and victims.
So 1944 to 2016.
Correct.
Right? And 7,819 suspected abusers, 12,254 victims, right?
That's right. But both those numbers are probably understated for several reasons. I mean, from our own experience, after we did our stories in 2012, since then, I've gotten probably dozens and dozens of calls and emails from Scouts who said, I was abused in Scouts, and I looked through the database to find my abuser, and his name's not in there.
Wow.
And so some of the plaintiffs' attorneys who have handled hundreds of these lawsuits contend that the actual universe of both victims and abusers is much larger than those numbers. For that reason, that a lot of the abuse is not reported.
And the Scouts have acknowledged that they did destroy some files of cases that they settled.
Right, yeah. And we don't know how many of those have been destroyed.
This was interesting to me in your piece. Some Seattle law firms teamed up and created a TV ad campaign and a website called abusedscouting.com.
Right.
And since then, 350 other people have come forward with new claims. These are people not represented in the other files, right?
The new claims are not represented in the files. Some of the alleged perpetrators are in the files, but more than half of the new claims of the 350, I think 234 named men who are not in the files, which would indicate why that universe is much larger.
48 states, and the ages of these people with these claims, 14 to 97.
Right, so basically these claims span 8 decades from all over the country.
What's the Boy Scouts' response to this latest revelation?
Well, the Scouts, you know, they've been under a lot of pressure on this issue and have really faced a slew of lawsuits in the last 7 years. Up until 2010, when there was a big jury award in a Portland, Oregon case, they had sort of quietly settled these cases. The Scouts say they're doing everything they can to prevent the abuse. They've apologized for the abuse that occurred. They have instituted new measures, criminal background checks and others that they say.
They have $1 billion in assets, but they're still considering bankruptcy protection, right? Two of the insurers of the Boy Scouts of America say they won't pay those claims because they feel the Scouts could have prevented the alleged abuse.
That's right.
New York and New Jersey are extending the statutes of limitations on child sex abuse claims. Will California do the same? Is there something pending here?
California has a bill that's in the Assembly now, which will do that. It extends the statute of limitations basically up until the age of 40, or within several years of when you discovered that you were harmed by sexual abuse. So if that goes through, and it looks like it's headed that way, that will expand the statute of limitations here as well.
And that'll be great news for those victims. Kim Christensen, thank you so much. Keep us abreast of any developments.
Thank you.